guest with us for our broadcast. I would say is our special edition. We have Mikkel Ehlers, one of the minds behind the half-double methodology. And I will have an honor. You would like to introduce yourself, Mikkel?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Michael Ehlers, and I've been partner in Implement Consulting Group for the last 13 years. Before that, I was 5 years in TDC. The thing is with me that projects is my passion. I've been working with projects in all of my career and trying to make them work in all different kinds of ways. So that's kind of, that's what I strive for.
It sounds like a good recipe for success.
Yeah.
Nice. I did prepare some questions that I would like to ask you. And I have to say that I did not actually prepare you for answering them. So let's see how it goes. But how everything actually got started, how the half-double was born.
Yeah. So we're back in 2014, and one of our clients approached us and said, you know, it seems like every time we try to start up a project, we try to fit something that is circular into reality, which might be a little more squared, or maybe the other way around. And she said, it's just like fitting two things together that doesn't work. And then she had another data point, which was the 30% success rate. So she said, you know, it seems that when we look into our projects, only 1/3 of our projects really succeed. And then we, of course, looked into the data on this, and we found the Standish Group research, which also suggests kind of that success rate.
Yeah, interesting.
And then we kind of look at each other, and we realized that we couldn't solve this alone. So we figured, you know, let's involve all the best people that we know of within project management in Denmark. And then the whole movement started actually from there. We gained funding. We had a lot of, you know, great project leaders attending and chipping into this. And today we're about 2,000 practitioners passionate about half-double and doing projects. You're one of them, exactly. Doing projects and trying to develop the methodology and try it in real-life projects.
Very nice. Wow, that's actually impressive. Quick pause. I
Yeah.
think I have to check if I'm recording.
Super.
Wow, that's quite impressive. And like I mentioned, not only me, but a lot of my co-workers and colleagues, they are also passionate. We are really interested in see how we can change this world of project management. So thank you for all of this. Could you please elaborate quickly of what are the core elements of the half-double methodology?
Yeah, so when we started in 2014, we kind of had an idea that this would be something about impact, flow, and leadership.
Wow.
And these three core elements are really what we've been developed and elaborated as we moved along and tried it also in real life projects, right? So the three core elements, impact, flow, and leadership, consist of, first of all, impact, meaning you want to make sure that all of your projects create value. So it's the value creation perspective that we're very occupied about.
Wow.
We're also, of course, you know, we're concerned about the budget. But if you create value enough, then the budget will kind of follow that, right? So that's the first part.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. The second part is, of course, the flow. And the interesting thing here is that if you have a progression in your project, if you have a weekly progression in your project, then the probability that you will finish the project quicker is pretty high. Okay. So weekly progression is really one of the fundamental principles of half-double.
Okay, that brings me a little bit of it. So half-double is kind of a traditional, innovative, but also kind of a hybrid solution or methodology, right?
It is. We call it an agile hybrid because we're inspired, of course, by all of the agile mindset. But it's also very functional with non-software projects. So it works in software projects, but it works very well in, for instance, product development projects, in transformation projects, in innovation projects, and other kinds of
and that's
projects.
Very important. I think most of the organizations, they are not only looking at the informational projects, but they are looking for a diverse type of projects.
Exactly. And that actually leads me to the last core element, which is, of course, leadership. And because leadership is kind of the forgotten part. You know, it's called project management for a reason. It's called project and management because we do a lot of systems and we break them down. But it's really about the leadership. It's about getting people to walk in the same direction, you know, chipping into the same project and understanding the vision of where this is going.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, this actually brings me to the post-check, which is kind of the heart beating of the project. And I think it's very related. If the team is not really involved and engaged, your results will not be actually as expected, I would assume.
Exactly. So we use the pulse check to make sure that stakeholders are, you know, satisfied with what they receive of impact, but also if they experience that there actually is a progression in the project, and also, of course, if they're developing, because that's a leadership part in itself, that people develop while they do the project.
Very nice. I have to admit, I was quite surprised. I was in Dubai doing one of my speeches for artificial intelligence, and in one of the keynote speakers, the main area is actually the DEI PMF. It's a very big event. And while I was in the attendance group, in the audience, I just got that they were awarding the most innovative methodology for project management 2018. And suddenly I see Implement and Half Double as a winner. I got super smile. I was like a mix of reactions. I would like to tell everyone that I knew them. I was working together with them. Can you tell us what got you that award?
Well, it's
congratulations.
Thank you. Well, we saw that there was this award going on, and we choose to kind of just send in the application explaining how we wanted to increase the success rate of 30% to something more. And right now, actually, we actually have evidence that we have succeeded in increasing the success rate from 30% to 70%.
Wow.
In the projects that we've done
and
so far.
This is not just numbers on the papers, this is evidence, is on real customers.
This is done by This is done on real life projects and evaluated by Aarhus University. So 16 projects have been evaluated, and the average success rate is 70%. So this is really impressive. Yeah. And that was, of course, one of the things that we stressed with the Dubai Award. And out of 1,000 applicants in 40 different countries, we won the prize for the most innovative idea of project management in 2018.
And to be honest, I see why you guys won. Today we are working in several opportunities and customers, and we see the difference in the results and how people are actually engaged with the projects in a different way. So congrats on the award one more time.
Thank you.
How do you see actually the benefits of combining, of course, the concepts which came from your mind and your team, but also combining with a tool that can support that concept? What do you think is the point to take from that?
So Half Double is based on the 3 core elements, so impact, flow, and leadership. And each of these core elements would have a principle associated with it. So for instance, for creating impact, we're saying that the principle is that stakeholder satisfaction is the ultimate success criterion. So if you want to be Half Double, you want to make sure that that principle is kind of lived in or massaged into the project, right? And that can be a little abstract. So how can you make a principle come alive? Well, of course, we use 3 different methods and would have 3 different tools associated with these methods. And the whole PPM system, or the whole system, helps us to set the tool alive, right? Whereby we actually set the principle alive. So this is, the tool supports us in a way so that we're nudged towards the right direction of implementing this in our own project.
You get a base or a platform to support you on that journey. It totally makes sense.
Yeah. So for instance, one of the tools would be a pulse check, and this platform will help you to do this pulse check, right? And that will also help you to navigate towards the impact, because every month you will do the pulse check to make sure that you're on the right path. So that's how the tool and the principle kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah. I have seen one of the modules that our customers are most, impacted and excited about is the priority grid. Yeah. Could you tell a little bit about the priority grid and why it's so simple and so efficient, I have to say?
Yeah, so the priority grid helps us to identify which projects will have the shortest way to impact creation, right? So it's really, how do we accelerate our impact creation? And we have a way of doing that with 4 different key numbers that can help us to identify which projects would be the most beneficial ones to start with. So that's why the priority grid, tend to be a very popular tool, because it gives a very easy overview based on only 4 KPIs.
Very nice, very graphical, very direct, easy to communicate, easy to understand. So I think our customers love it.
Yeah.
One last thing, maybe not a last thing, but we have seen tools and actually concepts are easy to be modified, but at the same time, you can lose the core elements. So is it possible for organizations to take advantage of the already existing framework for Half Double and tailor-made for their own needs without losing the core elements or the core principles?
It is, because it is actually a foundation for Half Double, that you take impact flow and leadership and the associated 9 methods/tools, and then you make a local translation. So you figure out how would this really fit with the organization that I'm in and with the projects that we're doing. So you really need to adjust it. It is how we do it. However, what we keep in mind when we do the adjustment or the local translation is that the principles are not lost in that translation.
Very important. So there's no one fits all. You also need to make that local translation that understand your business and your needs.
Definitely.
Totally makes sense. One last question. How can organizations get started with Half Double?
Yeah, it's actually easier than you think. Because what we recommend is really to gather a little experience on this first, and then maybe do kind of the bigger implementation afterwards. So what we suggest is take one project, apply to one project, the impact flow leadership, and just use 3 months and to get started and show this is how we do it. And once you have that proof ready, which will come pretty fast actually, because the method helps us to get this happening very fast, then I think that the whole project, the whole PPM tool can help you to figure out how can we actually implement this in a bigger setup. And so having the first results is really what paves the way from scaling it into more projects.
Totally makes sense. Yeah. I can only be grateful for your time and your attention. Thank you very much. Great work you guys are doing. I'm a personal follower like my team, so I hope we can actually have other talks like that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Take care.
See you guys. I actually like to. It was really good. Super good. Our team is quite impressed and very excited about the Half Double methodology. And there was one catchy point that we would like to understand a little bit better, which is the portfolio board, which sets some limits in regards of usage of our resources. Could you elaborate a little bit better on that?
So the main idea behind having a portfolio board is that they should help the organization to realize the strategy of the organization. So what we say is, as an owner, being part of that portfolio board because you own a pool of projects, as an owner, you should have maximum 3 projects per project owner. So each board member will own a maximum of 3 projects so that they're close to the projects happening in the organization. Because they would, of course, like to realize the strategy. By being close to some of the projects, you're actually close to the initiation or the realization of the strategies, right? So the main idea here is really to focus on 3 projects each. And sometimes board members kind of forget that.
What we have seen it in the field, I have to say, is up to 10 to 15 projects being around one person. There is no engagement there, right?
The problem with that is you haven't got time to engage with your projects. So you kind of get in the distance of it, and suddenly, the project might be delivering something that wouldn't be in line with the strategy. So we want to make sure that our project owners, meaning the board members, are very close to the project.
So this is kind of also a tool for prioritizing and setting your goals, because if you don't have enough people, maybe you should not be running all those projects, right?
Exactly. So we have the main idea, kind of a mantra for the board: own it or leave it. So you own 3 projects and then you leave the rest to your colleagues, right? And sometimes it's a little unclear who owns which projects. And the PPM system really helps you to gain that overview. Right? So some owners might have 9 projects, some might only have 1. Let's try to leverage this out.
Very interesting. Very nice. Another topic or a module that a lot of our customers and even our users are talking so much about, because it's not just a tool for the organization, it's actually meant to support the users or who is actually running those projects a lot more. Could you please tell us about the Impact Check one-pager, which I personally love it?
So the Impact Check one-pager would have kind of 2 purposes. One, it will kind of be the very brief summary of your project that the project owner will bring to the portfolio board. So he or she will, based on just 1 page, tell, how is this project doing? And we have a few KPIs that they will use for this dialogue. But the main idea here is that the one-pager will give you a few KPIs, but it's really about the dialogue in the board, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing that you use the one-pager for might be as an organizational kind of update for how is your project doing. Okay. And again, in one page, you'll get the quick insight to which projects do I want to look more into, or which projects are just doing great and should just be left alone for the time being.
There is one specific item that I really like it here, which is the insight tweets. Yeah. And I think you inherit this from Twitter because it's an easy way to communicate, but it's not a big essay that I'm writing. I have to be very precise of what I'm telling about the project, right?
So working with projects and with a lot of portfolio committees, right? I've seen so much reporting done, and the to be honest with you, when you get a 50-page report from 50 different projects,
not gonna read that.
People are not reading it. So what we've chosen to do here would just make 3 very short tweets from each project, and then the project owner will tell more about it, right?
Very nice and very efficient, I have to say.
It is.
Yeah. We can
the advantage by that is really for many project managers, right? Because they're sitting there reporting. So project managers also like this a lot.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I think the one pager, we see people saying that this is really helping my daily work, how I can communicate about the project. It's simple, it's efficient, and actually doesn't take much time to do it.
True.
Yeah, very, very nice.
That's the people part with the high caliber people. Yeah.
There is also, of course, projects. It's not just about the project managers. It's about people and working with and communicating and engaging with people. It's the core thing of everything. Yeah. And I think that's why you named a little bit of the core people of the project. Can you tell us how the core people and what are the limits, how we should take advantage of this part of the half double methodology?
Yeah. So one of the issues that we discovered when we look into portfolio management is you often see a portfolio board or portfolio committee prioritize which projects are the most important ones, but allocating the resources into the most important projects might happen in other forums or might be done by the organization or managers in the organization. So linking these two together is of high essence for creating impact. And what we discovered is another thing, that when we start doing that, and we do it with all the people in the organization, we tend to lose focus. Okay. So what we actually recommend here would be to focus on the 20 or 30 most used people in your organization for projects. We call them kind of high caliber people, or we call them the scarce resource people, right? So everyone will be asking for these people for their projects.
They don't differ project by project, right? They are actually built and they are the core people on any project they work on.
Yeah, so what we say there is instead of them being all around, in too many projects at the same time, they can be on 2 projects at the same time. Oh. So we're saying, focus your best people on the most important projects. So we allocate those 20, 30 people to our most important projects, and then we allocate the rest afterwards.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and the system will help you to do that.
Very nice. So I can imagine that these core people, they really define the result and the quality of almost the entire project, right? They can drive a lot of things by themselves.
Yeah. That is kind of the idea. So we're saying, identify the 2 most important people for this project, besides, of course, the project owner and the project manager. Who else would be the 2 most important people? Right. And then you allocate them to the project with the idea that you can do only 2 projects at the same time.
Very nice. And that's actually a challenge for who is watching us right now. Take a look at your projects. Take a look at your resources. Who are the core resources of your organization? How many projects are they running at the moment? Let us know on the chat, and it will be really fun to see it. Yeah. Sure. So one more time, Thank you very much, Michael. It's a pleasure. It's a great tool. We cannot stop talking about, and we just look forward.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, can we get more information? Do you have a book or a website? Maybe a little bit information where people can get some resources?
Yeah, sure. If you go to projecthalfdouble.dk, you can read more about the methodology, and you can join the community, and you can read about the research results. And of course, you can also buy the book, Half
Very
Double
nice.
book. So if you go to saxo.com or .dk, you can find the book there called Half Double.
Very nice.
Yeah, and of course you can always tell more about, if you want to have, more about the system and how to make this work. I think that you would be the right guy to contact.
Very nice. Just a question about the book. How many pages you have in this book? Do I have to reserve my entire holidays to read it?
So actually we have 2 books. We got the handbook, which is kind of the guide for practitioners.
Very interesting.
That one is about 40 pages, very easy digestible, because it's 9 tools that you need to use. And then we got, kind of the Half Double book, which is a little bigger because it's made kind of a coffee table book. So it's digestible and easy and nice to read.
You can select what you would like to learn.
Exactly.
Very nice. Thank you one more time. Great and to have you here today with us, and looking forward for the future. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Peace.